All right. Okay, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Marketing Monday. We are going to discuss this week about photography pricing strategies and to make sure to make sure that you're charging enough for your work. So let's get into it. Okay.
Hi, Robert Silver here, and I have a question. Have you been struggling with attracting clients? What about ways to scale and grow your business? Or have you been conflicted with how to use the latest social media apps and trends to grow your audience and influence? Marketing Monday is about helping photographers and any other business really to increase their digital presence with little to no cost by leveraging social media and other creative tools available on the market, as well as keeping you updated on all the latest digital marketing trends happening today. Tune in with me every Monday at 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on my YouTube channel for strategies, techniques, tips, and advice on how to help build your brand online.
Let me there. All right. Welcome everyone to another episode of a Marketing Monday. And as you know, every Monday I go over marketing tips, tricks, and advice for creatives, mostly photographers, but if it's models, fashion designers, it all applies really. For those who want to turn their passion into profits. So this week is going to be special, well, like any other week, because this was actually really unique, and this is going to help everyone out because one of the most, um, how can I say, widely asked questions I get are about pricing, whether they're charging enough or even where to begin. And that was something I had to learn very quickly at the beginning of my photography career. And even to this day, I still play with it as I scale and expand the services I offer to clients. I still use the same strategy to this very day, 10 years later. Okay. But this is going to help you new photographers who hopefully you watched my previous video where I went live Marketing Monday last week and I talked about are you even ready to start charging for your photography work or for your products, etc. as a creative. Now, I'm going to assume you said to yourself you are ready and hopefully your business is set up in such a way that the world and the market knows that you're ready. Now it's about pricing for your services and or products, okay? So that you can not only maximize on each service that you sell, but you're also able to tuck away a little something, get a little profit and all your bills are met, etc., etc. And you're not working yourself into the ground. That's like one of the biggest things. People are like, "Oh, I got so many clients." Yeah, well, if you're charging $50, no kidding. But guess what? Now you're going to be working like two clients in an hour just trying to pay all your bills, which is ridiculous. So obviously, work smarter, not harder, right? We've all heard that. I hope we're all living by that because let me tell you, it saved me a lot of headache. Now, let's get into it, shall we? First, let's get over the commercial stuff. Of course, like, subscribe, and hopefully you share this out to your people, this video, because it's going to be a juicy one again about pricing strategies for your photography work and to make sure that you're charging enough to at least tuck away and maybe even take a little vacay on photography. So go ahead. Of course, if you're on Instagram, click that link in that bio. Go head to my YouTube channel, smash that subscribe button, please, or share this content. If you're wherever you are, if you're on my YouTube channel, make sure you go ahead and follow me on Instagram at Robert Silver Photography. I'm on TikTok, Robert Silver Photography, and I'm on Twitter. Guess what? Robert Silver Photog. Okay. So I'm freaking everywhere. So if you can't find me, it's because you just don't want to, and that's all good. I'm not mad at you. Go do you. Okay. But if you're trying to find me, I'm there. I'm on Google, like I'm there. So if you have any questions, comments, concerns, post them down below. Okay. Now, I do want to let you know as of last week. Hey, CJ, thanks for popping in, man. I do want to let you know that I do offer personal one-on-one marketing consultations for online marketing, social media strategy, and content development for all of you creatives out there that are great at creating, but slack on the business end. This is your time to be able to book a private one-on-one session, whether it be in person or through Zoom. And guess what? You get to pick my brain. You get to pick 10 years of experience as well as my my entertainment business degree and all the faults and all the, trust me, many failures, which means many lessons I have learned along the way. And I'm now packaging that up and being available to you if you have any questions, comments, or concerns. Okay. Everything's by appointment only. So feel free to email me and we'll set up we can set up a consultation, et cetera, and see what your needs are so that I can help you level your brand and therefore we all win. Okay. Because that's the point of Marketing Monday, is making sure that you win and I win because I love sharing information. If you win, it just makes me feel great. Okay. So that's why all I'm asking for in return is for you to smash that like button or subscribe to my YouTube channel. That's all I ask. That's it. It's very easy, very simple. All right, before we get into today's show, looks like I already have a comment. Um, oh, that was my bad. No, that was something else. Okay, let's get to the first topic at hand. Okay. Now, first thing is first, okay? Before we even get into pricing or strategy or picking a pricing strategy that works best for you, and saying, "Oh, I want X," okay? First things first. Especially that's why I try to help creatives to understand if they don't know how to create a business plan, which I highly recommend they do. It doesn't need to be super intense or anything. Doesn't need to be 50, 20 pages, but at least the basic outline of a business plan gives you a great sense of direction and also goals and expectations for your performance, so you can measure where you're whether you're heading in the right direction. Like, a business plan is always great to have. Hey Daryl, thanks for tuning in on Instagram. Appreciate that. But the first things first, it's the R&D, it's the research. And that's why I'm gonna ask you, have you done your homework? Really, as a creative, have you done your homework? And what I mean by that is, have you done a thoughtful competitive analysis? Now, a lot of people are like, what is a competitive analysis? That's okay. I'm going to help you out with trying to understand what in the hell a competitive analysis is. Simply put, you're really going to analyze the immediate direct competitors to the services or products that you sell in your market. So, in my case, I'm in the Bay Area. So, I'm going to look up at least 3 to 5 direct competitors. So, for me, portrait photographers. You're going to look that up and you're going to do an analysis. Look at their website, look at their social media presence, look at their Yelp reviews, Google reviews, look at the products that they offer, see whether they even offer pricing on their website or they don't. Look at the packages that they may offer. Sometimes you might be able to see how long they've been in the game or not. All these things you're going to take into calculation. But let's simplify it. Let's say um, look at their pricing structure. Let's say for a 1 hour shoot. I'm just going to keep it simple. We could get really in depth with it, but I need to keep this in an hour. So let's say all of them charge $100. There's 3 of them, 100 for 1 hour, right? Therefore, you can easily assess that the market bears $100 an hour pretty easily. Okay, so that's one way to see, like, oh, okay, that's the average amount of where it should be. You can see a gauge. If you notice 100, 250, 500, well, clearly you see a little range in there for you to play with in terms of starting out where you should be pricing. But that is not the end all. Just because you notice what they are pricing could be completely different, because you don't know what their fixed costs are. You don't know what their variable costs are. You have no clue. You have no clue how much it costs for them to perform those headshots for $100 versus $250 versus $500. Some of it may be because they're experienced and they produce excellent work, and they can demand that, and the market compensates them for that. But also, their cost of living can be completely different from 100 to 200 to the in the 500. But just to say roughly, thank you everybody for tuning in on Instagram here. I really appreciate it. Facebook and YouTube. I really appreciate it, everybody. So with that said, you have to do a competitive analysis. That's why it's super important. Before you even think about, oh, I want to charge X for a headshot for 1 hour. Well, do you even know why you're charging that? Because that's why understanding at least the basic structure of a business plan and writing it down, even just a simple outline structure of your business plan for yourself, is absolutely mandatory and super helpful. Gotta write it down. Okay. A ship without a sail, whew, is not a ship I want to be on. I don't know where it's going. Or an oar. What is it? An oar? Is it an oar that directs the ship? Either way, don't get on it. Wait for the next one. So that's why you got to have a plan, a strategy, something written down. Because that plan and that strategy holds you accountable to whether you're meeting those goals, right? KPIs. So you gotta anyway, I don't want to digress. Now, after you've done your homework, this is going to be the basis. All these data, at least pricing and packages that your competitors are offering, are going to be the basis of the data that you're going to pull to create a pricing strategy. Okay. Now, for everyone, real quick, that is on Instagram, you're not seeing all the notes that are popping up on screen. You can though by going to my YouTube channel. All you have to do is click on the link in my bio, and you can clearly see it right there. Marketing Monday. Click on that, and then you can see all the notes that are popping up on screen. Everybody that's on YouTube, Facebook, and I believe my LinkedIn as well can see everything that's on screen. So I just want to let you know, if you're watching and you're missing out, it's because you're not on my YouTube channel. And I will have to turn off the live in just a few minutes so I can concentrate on those on my YouTube channel. So if you're on Instagram, head to my YouTube channel to get the complete knowledge of the complete lesson of today's talk. Okay. All right. As I said, after you've done your homework and you've done a successful competitive analysis, even if it's just as simple as looking at everyone's average prices for 1 hour, whatever, etc. Look at their service packages that they offer, okay, and the prices of those. All right. And look at how many different kinds of services do they offer. Are they only a portrait photographer? Are they only a family portrait photographer? Are they only let's say they only do headshots, or they only do weddings? Or maybe they do it all. Take that all into consideration. Okay? So that again you have more data to create an effective pricing strategy. Now, let's get into it. Let's talk about pricing strategy, okay? A pricing strategy is a model or method used to establish the best price for your product or service, right? And it helps you to choose prices to maximize profits while considering the cons. Okay. A con could be that, well, you charge $1 million an hour, and guess what? You just price yourself out of the marketplace, and thus you get no clients and you're broke. So, you could think you're $1 million photographer, but guess what? The market doesn't give a damn, because the market would tell you whether you're worth it or not. If your phone's quiet and it's not ringing, oh, clearly you're not $1 million photographer. Okay. So that's why a pricing strategy is so important to have. Knowing and understanding, because then that'll allow you to, anyway, it'll allow you to choose the right amount of price that ensures that you're making a profit and covering all your costs, right? Really, that's all we're trying to do. Now, first things first, when we're trying to develop a nice little pricing strategy. Mm. Woo. I gotta drink some water because every time I've gone live with you all, I leave and my throat is dry as a desert. Okay. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns about pricing and curious about how you should start a good pricing strategy and how much you should charge, post a comment down below. Let me know because this is the time. Okay. This is the time where in which you can ask me any question about pricing and whether you're pricing enough. Okay. This is very important. I'm trying to make sure that your passion makes you profit. You're not going to be able to do that uh, without making, making some money on top of it. Unless you want your passion to be your hobby. If so, well, maybe this isn't the time for you to tune in. Okay. Now, consider first. Let's do this. C- Cost to consider before setting a price. A lot of people don't understand what cost that must be considered before they even think about how much they should charge. First is fixed costs, costs that will never leave, that will never fluctuate regardless of whether you get a client or not. A fixed cost could be your rent. That's a fixed cost. Your auto. Hey everybody, thank you for tuning in on Instagram. Another fixed cost can be your cell phone bill, right? If you have a sort of unlimited plan, if it's not prepaid. Your internet is a fixed cost. Your automobile, your what do you call it? Your monthly payments to your car, fixed costs, insurance, fixed costs. And then you have variable costs, which are usually incurred during the creation of a product or service. Gas is variable, right? Um, I would say electricity would be variable because that thing goes up and down for me all the damn time. Okay, it's something that's not really set in stone. Okay, but it's a cost nonetheless when it comes to being able to fulfill a service or produce a product. Okay. Oh, hey, thanks a lot. Great tip. Hey, good to see you. Good to see you at the Metreon as well. RH0B3RT1N0. Okay, brother. That's a mouthful right there. That IG name. But it's great to see you anyway. Thanks a lot. Thanks for checking in. Um, so as I said, cost to consider before setting a price. What are your variable costs? What are your fixed costs? Those are the two most important things. How much does it cost for you to live? Let's just put it simply. How much does it cost for you to live? Okay? That's why if I think people are afraid to really understand how much it really costs for them to exist, and that's why they end up in jobs where in which they're getting underpaid and therefore they're resentful of the job that they're in even though it no one forced them to be in it, and they're busy not growing, they're not scaling, they're not building, and quite honestly they lack motivation and they just get bummed out. And I've been there. That's why I could say this. I've been there so many times. And it started from because, oh, I'm sitting here working 40 hours a week, sweating wiping sweat off my brow. I feel like I'm doing something. My legs are moving, right? But I'm not going anywhere. And it's because, again, I didn't really understand how much it costs for me to exist and thus get the job that not only meets those needs, but exceeds those needs. And that's why I put this at the beginning. We haven't even gotten into pricing strategy. That's why I talked about, have you done your homework? And then have you considered the cost before setting your price? We haven't even gotten nearly to the price yet. So again, how much does it cost for you to exist? What are your fixed costs? What are your variable costs? Okay. Once you have that, then you immediately know right then and there, which you cannot make anything less than, right? You already know right there it's bad if you're making less than X. Okay. Okay. We're getting closer to the strategy now. Oh, okay. Robertino. Hey. Oh, now I see that. All right. Thanks a lot for that correction. You really hit it in that profile name. That was cool. Thanks, Robertina, for checking in with me on Instagram. Very much appreciate it. Now, here's a simple pricing strategy for beginners that has worked for me when I first started photography and decided to quit everything like a fool after got my degree, everything. I quit my job. I had 401k, all that stuff. I quit it all to be a photographer. So let's go down memory lane, shall we? Ah, yes. Okay, here we are. When I first quit everything, I decided to um I was like, all right, how am I going to charge? First thing I did was like, okay, if I'm going to here's what I recommend. If you have a full-time job and you really want to be a photographer full-time, I recommend figuring out a price strategy where in which you can go part-time and supplement photography, supplement the income you're going to lose from going part-time with the photography. Tiptoe, tiptoe your way into the pool, okay? Walk from the shallow end to the deep end of the pool. Here's one pricing strategy that worked for me. I said, if I'm going to take off of work and lose money, obviously from taking off work to do this photography, I need to make sure I make more than I do that entire day. So let's just keep numbers easy. You make $10 an hour. I'm just keeping numbers easy. Nobody's making $10 an hour now. Okay, you make $10 times eight, it's $80, right? I would say to make it enticing and risking my job, I wanted to make sure that I'm making at least twice that. Okay, so 80, 160. So I'm going to charge around 160, 175. That's what I did when I still had my job and I was charging for photography. I was pricing it that way, like two times my hourly rate was my first strategy because I still had a job, right? That was paying pretty much my bills. But if I had to take off of work or if I'm going to work on my day off, I want it to be um, advantageous for me and thus motivate me to want to really perform well for my client on my day off, my 2 days off, or if I had to take a day off. Therefore, if I was getting paid twice as much as my hourly, I was like, "Oh man, that's pretty cool. Hey, I'm not looking too bad." Okay? So nowadays, it might be different, right? Because with the minimum wage, let's just say it's $15. So $15, $15 60, right? You're gonna have to charge $250 for an hour to make it enticing for you to work on your day off, in modern day standards. Or I was about to say, or when you take that day off, or on your day. I mean, excuse me. If you're going to take a sick day, risking your job, or shooting on your day off. This is just for example. Again, this first strategy is really to supplement the loss of income by going part time, and therefore you have photography making up for it. Okay, we're gonna get into something more deep to make sure that this strategy even makes you money or really is enough for you. We'll get into that later, so don't worry. This is just a simple, like, strategy number one, if you will, of how I started. Okay, if it helps you, cool, mazel tov. If not, then just wait. Don't worry, I got more for you. Now, thanks everybody for tuning in on Instagram, on YouTube. Really appreciate it. Facebook, always appreciate it. So again, the first most basic way, if you're like working full time, the strategy is for full time beginners. Okay, photographers like, hey, I want to make some extra money. I'd recommend looking at your hourly wage, right? If you are working hourly, okay, and timesing it by two, and then, excuse me, times it by two, and times that by eight. So again, if you just to keep it simple, because my brain I'm a little tired today, I got a headache. If you're getting $10 an hour, times it by two, right? Then times that by 8 hour shift, boom, there goes. And then that's how I would charge my photography for on average, depending on the packages. We're not going to get into packages. I'm just saying that's how I would figure out the math. So I'm like, oh, okay, then I want $20 an hour. If I'm getting $10 at work and I have to work on my day off, well, I want $20 an hour times 8. So boom, bada bing. Now we're looking at 160 there. So at minimum, I'm gonna make sure I'm getting 160 on my before I do anything else in terms of like bigger packages, more inclusive packages, etc. But my baseline is 160 to be worth shooting on my day off. You got to entice yourself. Just having a client is not enticing enough. The money, to me, is what entices me. That is the best motivator. It really is for yourself and anybody else. So if you need help, assistance, etc., pay them, and you'll be amazed. You get great work out of them. Thanks, Stephanie, for tuning in. Always appreciate it. Thank you very much. Now, that's the first strategy. So let's that's a very basic one, but let's ask another question, okay? Let's just ask another question. Uh when do you start making a profit? Because that's really the important part. Because I could tell you that strategy, which is a very basic, simple strategy for new photographers to take, which is take your hourly, times it by 2, times it by 8, and that should be your base package strategy, right? But in this case, I want to make sure that uh, even if you use that strategy, that strategy is making you any money. Because again, just like I said earlier, you have to consider certain costs before setting a definitive price, which is your variable costs and your fixed costs. If you don't understand those two, everything I just said doesn't matter. That's why I'm putting this in order. You can rewatch this video. I'm telling you, it's going to help you out. It's helped me out. That's why I'm doing okay. And everything that I do revolves around photography. And I'm trying to make sure that you can live a life of creativity on your timeline, right? You set your schedule, you live the life you want. And I'll see you at the gym tomorrow morning because I'm not driving in fucking traffic to work. Okay? I'm living my life, but yet I work 60, 70 hours easy, and I enjoy every minute of it and still wake up at 5 a.m. every day because I do my homework and I'm trying to help you guys. This will work. I guarantee you. You got to put in the work. Okay? Now, when do you start making a profit? Of course, that's like the most important thing I hope is on your mind. If you're tuning in for Marketing Monday, if not, it's just because you like staring at me. So, to determine that, we have to find out what our break even point is. Okay. There's a lot of marketing, business jargon. It's time for you to put on your big boy pants and look these terms up and understand how it applies to your business. A break even point refers to the production level of which total production revenue equals the total production cost. So when the costs are met by how much you're making is your break even point. See, this is why I told you to start with, this is why I told you to consider what are the costs before setting your pricing strategy, variable and fixed costs. Okay. How much does it cost for you to exist as a photographer each month? That includes your rent or maybe studio rent or studio rental price. That's a fixed cost, right? Those sort of things are important. That's why this is all going to help you determine what is your break even point. Again, the level at which your total production, your total revenue equals the cost, your break even point. And hopefully the revenue is going way up here, right? That's where I'm trying to help you to understand so that you can measure your growth. And you're only going to grow if you understand how much it costs for you to do what you do and then make sure you're charging properly. That's why the video is, are you even charging enough for your work? Okay. Now, here's a little, this one, there's two ways to determine a break even point. Technically, one is through units and one is through dollars. We're going to go over dollars. You can go look up the other way of fixed cost, finding your break even point through units. Okay. but I felt this equation helps you best. And here it is. Boom. Okay. Fixed costs are divided by sales per unit minus variable costs. Okay. So you have your fixed cost and then your sales per unit. Okay. Let's say you're charging $50 minus variable costs. So let's say that $50, you could charge $50 an hour, right? And but it costs you $10 to make that 50. So now you're gonna minus the sales price. 50 minus that, boom, you have 40. And then you're gonna take your fixed cost divided by the 40. And then that's how you determine your break-even point. So I would do this over the course of, let's say, a year, right? And then you can determine it from there in terms of like how much. And by the way, there's 2,000 work hours in a year, okay, full time. Um, and but this is a great way to determine where your break even point is. To put it simply, if you want to know a stupid simple way, quite honestly, is you take, okay, I did this earlier with one of my mentorees. She showed me her pricing strategy. I said, hey, you take this number, your fixed, excuse me, if you take the number that it costs for you to um, exist, right? That means your rent, your everything. Because if you're going to be an entrepreneurial photographer and you want this to be the sole source of income, so you take all of your costs, your car, your rent, your everything, because you got to pay for it all. At least your photography does, right? And then you was about to say, and then what did you do? Then you took you take that price and you divide it by 2,000, right? And then wait, before I get into that, hold on. Everybody on Instagram, make sure you go and click the link in my bio and check me out on YouTube for the rest of this video. Thank you everybody for tuning in. I will see you on YouTube. Cool. Okay. So now that we're just concentrating on those who are tuned in on my YouTube, etc., we can get right back to it. So you take your let's say, here we go. It costs you $36,000, right? Divided by 2,000 work hours. Let's just say hypothetically it's $36,000 for you to live. God bless if that was the case. Okay. And then you can see $18 an hour, right? Boom. That's what you need to make sure you make minimum your break even point in this case. Uh, you need to make over that. So for sure, I'm going to be charging, and you have to consider also when you do your pricing, your taxes at the end of the year. Because guess who pays it? You do. Okay. Is not ugly. I mean, it is ugly. It ain't pretty. So, if this was the case, this is what I would make sure I'm not charging. Like I would want to charge more than that. I would realistically take that $36,000 if that's the case, and really instead of 2,000, realistically more like 500. Okay. Reason why is you're not going to be shooting 40 hours a week. I mean, if you are, I mean, dude, let me know what's your secret. But most of us, we're shooting, 3 times out of the week, and that pays for everything, right? So let's just say, okay, let's use my case. 3 times a week, that's 3 times 52 weeks out of the year, right? 3 times 52, boom, 156. So we went from 2,000 to 156. So let's use the old number. Let's say my entire existence cost $36,000 a year. Okay? Trust me, hang with me here. Divided by 156, right? That's the amount of hours average I may be working. That's 3 days, excuse me, 3 days. I'm using days. A week, 52 weeks. Okay? Look at that. That means each day that I work, I need to make sure I'm making at minimum $231, right? 231 minimum. If I want to meet or exceed the $36,000 break even point, or hey, I can at least pay for all my bills, everything's covered. Okay? This is why I recommend, going from full time to part time in a job to build this up, okay, to this point. Granted, you might be able to charge a client here and there, but the first 2 or 3 years when I jumped and made the leap, um, hell, I was doing things for $100. So man, it was rough. A lot of ramens, a lot of rice, a lot of humble pie I was eating because um obviously I wasn't bringing in much. I honestly I quit my job too quick. I should have took my own advice, which I'm giving you now, which is to go to scale to break down to um part time and supplement my income through photography. Um, but I went all in and I learned the hard way. And that's why I'm trying to tell you, if you go your approach this way, then now you understand what your goal is. So if you're part time and you start going with this mindset of a full time strategy pricing, you're going to get there much faster. Charging cheaper doesn't get you anywhere faster. So if you notice if you do your R&D, like I said earlier, have you done your homework? If and you done your competitive analysis, you notice, hey, everybody's charging $300 for 1 hour. I'm gonna charge 150. It doesn't get you there twice as fast. Actually, it may actually take you twice as long. Okay, because the market is clearly telling you the average is $300, and you're purposely going one under 150, and that actually sends a negative signal. First, you must be new. Second, you don't know how much your service is worth in your own market. This is what you're telling your clients, and thirdly, you want to work twice as much for half the price. Like what the heck? Like that's crazy. Like why would you do that? That's retarded. Okay? That's why you take all these variables, you take all these data into account before you even set your price. I'm learning how much I would take if I work 3 days a week every week, and I need $36,000. You already see where I need to make that day. I'm not saying per hour, that day. Okay. So therefore, if I take off of work, this is what I want to take. This is what I want to make that day minimum. Otherwise, I might as well just go work. Go to work. Okay, even though this is just one day. Um, Again, this also means I'm covering all my bills. As I said earlier, variable costs and fixed costs are covered. Okay. And in your case, as a photographer that wants to be full time, that's every cost you got coming or leave in your pockets. Okay. That this will cover it. Now, we can do the same thing when it comes to, you want to make 60 grand, right? And I said, divided by 156, right? Oh, see, now you need to make sure you're making something like this, $384. Okay. So you see, using this math is actually a very simple way to determine whether you're charging enough or not even charging enough, but that you're making enough. Because really, at the end of the day, to me, it's the month. If I make everything all in the first week, mazel tov. Hey, more. I'm not mad. If I make everything in the last week, cool. That's good with me too. So don't stress yourself out. If you're not making it and you're like, oh my God, Robert said 3 times a week, I got to make 230. Holy Christ, I'm sweating. I used to do that to myself all the time, pressure myself like, oh, I need to make $500 a week. That was like my first goal, $500 a week. And I thought it was awesome. That's when $10, $12 an hour was still a thing. But I was sweating bullets and punishing myself. Like I wasn't working hard enough. I wasn't doing enough. I was being super negative, talking down on myself because I wasn't hitting that $500 a week. Really, what matters is what happens by the end of the month. Okay. And then I would measure year to year. Like after a year or two, all of a sudden I have year to years to look back at and be like, oh, okay, I do see growth. It may not be as fast as I'd like, but it's definitely heading in that direction. And then with those numbers, because numbers don't lie, There's a story that's being told, which is, what areas of opportunities are there for my services? Meaning, where can I improve? Where have I messed up? And what things can I scale and build on? And what things do I need to get rid of? Okay, but it's got to start from all here. Honestly, it starts with doing your homework. Okay, doing a simple competitive analysis doesn't need to be detailed. It could be simply who are the 3 to 5 competitors in my area, how much are they charging, what services are they offering, and how many different services. What's uh their like their product line, okay? And then figure out what it is that you're really good at that maybe they aren't. And that could give you a nice competitive advantage over your other clients. I noticed a big bump when I start offering videography to my product mix. And then all of a sudden, boom, oh Christ, I'm making more money just by adding something that's complementary to my skills and I actually enjoy doing. Mm. So there you go. So you can do the same thing. Start small, like I said, start in the shallow end and ease your way into the deep end. And before you know it, you're floating on your back like you're on vacation and it's all good. Okay. So again, do your homework, consider your cost. How much does it cost for you to even to exist month to month? Seriously, come up with a simple, basic photography strategy. At least think about the one that I mentioned, which is like if you're working hourly and you want to at least go to part time and make up that income, charge twice as much per hour minimum. Okay, times it by 8, and then you can see what you want to make that day minimum. Here's a little extra sauce. If you're making here's another easy number, $25 an hour, right? I'm trying to keep these numbers easy. If you're making $25 an hour and you're like, how much should I charge per hour? That's a question I get all the time. How much should I charge an hour? Very simple, very easy. If you're just starting out, but you want to get compensated, okay? I'm not talking about living high on the hog. $25 you get for an hour, okay? Let's do the math. $25, right? You get at work. Cool. Okay. I would times that minimum 3 times 75 plus that 25. Okay. Boom. And you're like, how did you get that, Robert? Well, because like most businesses, that's what they do when they sell a product. They get a product for $5 and they're going to sell it to you for $25. Okay. And we're like, wow, we got a deal because it said $20. Well, they're still making tons of money. That's how businesses really get over on us. And that's how I recommend you do so. Why? Because it covers your variable costs and fixed costs in producing or offering that service. In our case, taxes, 27% is gone, right? So let's just make it easy. From that 100, $25 is gone. Boom. Okay. $25 an hour is what it costs for you to make that service, right? That's what you get paid at your daily job. So let's minus $25. Boom. See, now you're really at now you have $50 left, right? Now you have, I don't know, let's just say $25 worth of expenses because of variable and fixed costs. Okay. Now you're back. Now you're at $25. So you're really making 25% profit after all is said and done. If you don't give yourself that cushion, Uncle Sam will smack you in the face real hard at the end of the year. Okay? It's called tax. And they come hard and heavy. Trust me. That's why this strategy is a safe strategy. Take how much you make per hour, times it by 3, if not 4. I mean, go for 4. Why not? Test it out. And then add it to your original. So in this case, you times it by 3, 75, plus your original, 25, and boom, bada bing. That's how you make, that's how you come up with your first hourly rate. That's a very easy strategy, especially for beginners. Very easy strategy. So you either do 3 times or 4 times your hourly, add it together, boom, there you go. How much should you charge? I just told you. You figure out the numbers, you know how much you get paid. So if you get $15, let's say you get what's the I don't know what the minimum is now, but let's just say $15, You times it by 4, it's 60, plus your 15, boom. Start off with that. If you're a brand new photographer, start off with that. Be okay. I used to do $50 Sundays. Okay. Because I needed to build a portfolio of actual clients, not photos of just girls fucking wanting a picture for Instagram. No, I wanted people who actually paid and compensated me for a service. That's what I want a portfolio of at that particular time, so that I can get Google reviews, Yelp reviews, all these reviews that actually matter to the algorithm out there, to make sure that my name pops up on the first page of Google for searches. That's going to happen when you have actual clients. That's why even if you're just charging $75, you're like, well, that ain't nothing. Well, let me tell you, a 5-star Yelp review, 5-star Google review has got me many more gigs. Okay. Not just charging $200 out the gate. That doesn't get me more gigs. It gets me $200. That's great, but I want residual income. I want to live off of this. So that's why even here, you're not losing. You're not losing. If you do the math, you're not losing. You just needed $15. That's what you were living on, right? You're living off of $15. Okay, cool. Well, I just 5x your $15. That's just, I mean, what can you do legally that 5x is your stuff besides some damn crypto? Okay? So I'm trying to help you to understand the power is in how you is in your strategy. That's why understanding what a business plan is, how to create a simple one, just a simple one, something written down, is going to help you take you to the next level and keep you there. Okay? So, that's a very simple strategy. Try it out. Let me know what you think. If you already have a strategy, let me know. Post your comments down below. I'd love to hear it. I hope any of this helped you out. And remember, with all these particular little steps that I've given you in terms of competitive analysis, break even point, understanding your variable fixed costs, as well as these pricing strategies, as I said in my previous video, you have to research, plan, execute, fail, repeat. Again, you have to research, plan, execute, fail, repeat. And I guarantee you're going to level up. That's I'll put my word on it. I'll put this hat I got from H&M on it. It will help you, because then you're focused. You have a plan. You're a plan of action. People start relying on you. Clients feel that. They know you're handling business. You can see through your work. It's only going to come back to you tenfold, okay? Just having a seed is not going to help if you don't plant it. And even if you plant the seed, you still have to water and tend to it. You have to care for it. And then one day you get to harvest what that seed becomes. And then your dinner table is full of the benefits of your hard work. That's why you have to research, plan, execute, fail. Be okay with failing. Failing is fantastic. There are lessons to be learned that no school book can teach you. And then repeat the process. Okay? Anyway, with all that said, make sure you guys head on over and follow me, okay? Follow me on Facebook, Instagram, okay? Get that tickety talk, Robert Silver Photography, and Twitter. I'm on LinkedIn too. Don't you worry about it, okay? I really appreciate you all for tuning in for another episode of Marketing Monday, and I hope you are charging enough for your work. Come on now, we need to get paid, okay? It's getting tougher out here. You know it, all right? So, until next time, keep shooting, stay creative. Thank you for watching.